I am live at the Capitol with Representative Russ Diamond, and thank you so much for doing this today, taking your time to talk about HB 2013. Representative Diamond, can you tell us why HB 2013 is so important for Pennsylvanians?
I introduced House Bill 2013 because we've come to a point in time, I call it a crossroads, where we need to establish medical freedom as an individual right in Pennsylvania's Constitution, along with all those other individual rights, the right to free speech, the right to a jury trial, the freedom of worship, the right to bear arms, all those things. We've come to a point in time where we've lived for a very, very long time, where government and business has not really abused vaccine mandates, so to speak, too badly. But now with the COVID-19 vaccine, we've seen people go over the edge. And the people of Pennsylvania need the protection of a constitutional amendment that would guarantee their medical freedom once and for all.
Absolutely. Can you explain the process that HB 2013 has to take through legislation to get on to the May 2023 ballot?
Sure. So a constitutional amendment in Pennsylvania, here's how it passes. You need to pass a bill containing the constitutional amendment language both through the House and the Senate in two separate sessions, and the language has to be exactly the same in both the sessions. Once that happens, then it will be put on the next election ballot, whether that's a primary election or a general election. That's how the constitutional amendment process works in Pennsylvania. The governor has no say over constitutional amendments. He can't veto a constitutional amendment. A constitutional amendment is a deal between the General Assembly and the people of Pennsylvania. So the General Assembly does its job, passes this bill in two successive sessions, and then puts it on the ballot, and the people vote yes or no.
What can Pennsylvanians do to get HB 2013 passed?
Right now, what Pennsylvanians can do is they can reach out to their individual legislators and ask them to support this bill, to ask our leadership to move this bill, because without enough force from rank and file legislators, leadership won't be motivated to move this bill and bring it up for a vote. So they need to hear from my fellow legislators who want this bill to move and who want to protect the citizens' right to medical freedom.
And was there any inspiration for coming up with HB 2013?
No, the inspiration for me, there was no individual stories or anything like that, although my particular interest in this topic overall began about 3 sessions ago when parents who had medical exemptions for their children for vaccines, to attend school. The schools would send out these notices every year. Here's the vaccinations your kids need, blah, 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 blah. And the parents with medical exemptions would call me and they would say, does this mean my medical exemption doesn't exist anymore? So what I found was that our schools were not properly notifying parents that those medical exemptions, which are part of state law, as well as religious and philosophical exemptions, always are still intact. So we always had parents, every year, we had parents calling us all worried about, well, do I have to, change my path of raising my child now? And the answer is no. So I started with a bill that would make it more conspicuous when the schools send out those notifications that those exemptions actually are in law in Pennsylvania. So that was the beginning of my journey in this entire field. But then when we got to, COVID, and the COVID-19 vaccine, I thought, well, the way we saw with the mask mandates, the lockdowns, and everything else that was going with COVID, I foresaw that we would see vaccine mandates, and this was long before any vaccine was even available for COVID-19. I predicted that the government and corporations would try to mandate this no matter what, so I introduced a different bill to address the rights of workers in the workplace to refuse those kind of mandates. But now I believe it's elevated to the point where we need to protect all Pennsylvanians, regardless of where they work, regardless of what they do in their lives, from any kind of government or corporate vaccine mandate and to protect their individual freedoms, which I believe includes the decision to make your own medical choices.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. On behalf of PCIC, we are very grateful for the work that you're doing here at the Capitol and really appreciate you.
Well, thank you for inviting me to talk with you today.
Absolutely.